Alright, let's get started. So we are doing Sen Leviatán Fracture. Last time I streamed, I looked at how Sen looked on Fracture versus C9, and they looked fantastic. So I know that Lev did end up winning this game, so I'm very curious to see what did they do that was able to beat Sentinels, because Sen looked so good previously. Was it Sentinels collapsing, or was it Lev just playing better? That's what we're looking to find out today. So before we get started, let's look at the comps. They're mostly mirror, well, not exactly. Your differences are this KJ versus Cypher, obviously, and then you're running the Jet secondary duelist versus the KO. So in terms of Lev's composition, it's much more aggressive because you're running the double duelist. You're kind of forced to take a lot of engagements with the double duelists that aren't necessarily supported by a ton of util, because your only real catalytic util is this breach. So the advantage of having this Jet is able to self-sufficiently take fights and look for picks and get out with the dash. Obviously, the untradeability. How does that play into these characters? I think pretty well, honestly. So KO's main strength is that he's able to disable this KJ with knife or ult and get onto site pretty easily, and he adds additional flashes and information as well, and this is usually used as area denial rather than post plant, but he kind of is an all-arounder that allows his main value obviously is being able to shut down utility, but because they're playing the double duelist here, shutting down the Jet util doesn't really do that much, right? Jet's still just looking to take fights and kill you. So Sentinels does have more utility to trade, but Lev doesn't really care about trading utility. They're just gonna look to get in your face quickly because they're running this double duelist. So let's see if that ends up playing out in this match. Alright, first round, it looks like Sentinels is playing a 4-1 setup with solo Brim A. This is very interesting. So they're running camera, trip. It looks like Cypher is being relegated to holding the B main push, while we have a 3-man trap play set up for Arcade. Meanwhile, Lev is in a pretty standard 4-1, Killjoy's holding bridge side on her own, while you have Taco taking fights towards B main, and the pack is looking to take A main control. So just off of these setups, it's pretty beneficial to Lev, because it looks like they're going to be defaulting towards the area of the map that Sen left open. Quick alarm bot for Dish. We'll get early info on any push out from Sen. Obviously there is no push coming though.
But here we go, it's slow to begin with. Look at this setup here. For somebody's contact there, Sassy.
So Taco took some very aggressive lines here and got all the way up B main, and this cam does not see him. Taco might get the chance to break this camera. Yes. And the trip. So this is extremely successful already, right? Taco took this contact play, took full B main control, and he broke all of Cypher's util solo. This is going to make Sen worry about their B main side, while they're still trying to hold this trap for Arcade, and in the meantime, the rest of Lev is starting to take A main, right? So Taco has gotten every bit of value that he wants to in this push, and if he just falls off and rejoins his team, Lev is in an amazing spot. So you can see there's no rotations coming through, right, from Sen. Sen is just sitting in their trap still. Now Cypher has to actively hold B main because his util's been broken, and they're just going to walk onto site. Full contact play from Lev.
And this double duelist comp is playing so cautiously right
wow.
now.
So look at the util that Lev used. It's nothing, right? They full contacted into A main. They used the jet smoke to help Taco get out, and as I talked about, he got all the way out to A main. Now Lev, because they contacted into the empty side of Sentinels, is in full post plant. They planted open for drop, so KJ has full line of sight to the spike. You have Nazwar has his entire kit and is sitting under drop, so he's able to do fault line, flash, aftershock to completely delay the retake. You have a crossfire setup. King still has his nade that he can use to delay towards rope as well, so this is an extremely favorable round for Lev already. I'm pretty surprised that there's no push through here. So usually when you 3-man stack an area of the map on Fracture, you want to have some sort of push through flank, because it's so hard to win these post plant situations without a flank, right? When you're fully coming out of spawn and rope here, you're going to be funneled into crossfires for sand and for CT. As well, almost every single plant on a site is either open to main or to drop. In this case, it's to drop. I'm surprised that Shy gave it up. I guess it's because he got smoked off. But I still would have loved to see some sort of push through flank from Sentinels here. So, Tens catches King pushing CT, really. This is really surprising to me. I think this is a mistake from King. Like, there's no reason to push this when you still have your nade in your pocket. Huh. It's weird. Alright. Anyways, thanks for the follow, Cade. Welcome, welcome. King gives up a free kill. Now suddenly Sen is in man advantage. NZR is already pushed up and catches Saucy off guard. Tens' spacing is too far away, so there's no trade available. King may have been trying to get a timing on the breach. Yeah, but I don't think you need a timing in this situation, right? You have massive utility advantage already because you contacted onto site. You heard him running towards tower. Yeah. Like, I understand what he's going for, but I don't think he needs to make the play. I think they're already in a really favorable situation. So Sen looked to full flood Sands and retake it, and they have successfully retaken Sands. Now Marv and Zekin are looking to pressure towards main. Marv does have one smoke here, which is interesting to me. It looks like he's going to die and not use it. I kind of would have liked to see that smoke drop before he pushes into Hall, or have Zekin take first contact, right? Marv is taking first contact here, so he's dying with that smoke that could be dropped on Spike right here. Knife for sight reveals that Shy is on site, but Shy wins the duel on Tens. This is a really important duel, honestly. So if Tens was able to stay alive here, these three players don't have to worry about their back. But now, like, as they're trying to wrap into main, oh, look at where Taco is, by the way. As they're trying to push into main, now they're worried about the wrap completely. Taking sight is rougher too because you don't have this angle holding the swings out of default.
Picking up Tens as there's a fight happening over a door. Yeah,
and this post plan is just still too good still. Now it's like a 1v2. Look at Taco. Is he crashed?
Not quite. Time's running short. Let's still win the pistol round despite that.
Oh, it's PC crash here. Okay, that makes way more sense. I imagine they keep the round because they won without him though. That would have been a crazy play, yeah. I mean, if it wasn't a Jet, like, there's Brimstone Molly lineups from here, for example. I think it's actually pretty good to have a player here if they have lineups for Spike, because it's just, like, impossible to clear out this player in the post, you know? You can throw your lineup, and then after these players are re-clearing main, you just go backstab them. I think it's really good. So, Sen on their eco is full 5-stacking B-side. Meanwhile, Lev is playing a pretty spread default. They're playing 4-1. It's more like a 3-1-1, but a lot of teams have, like, when you're running the Fade, for example, a lot of the times they have their Fade playing information towards A-Halls. So in this case, they're just playing Taco getting that information with his face and his gun, and he's just free to take the fights because he has dash to get out. So Lev working up towards B main. They are hitting into the stack. They see the high-low, and then they back off. Sen Boombot to cover their back. And then Sen is 5-man pushing out and taking the orb. I like this decision. So basically, Lev sniffed out the stack for B site, but Sen, like, realizing that Lev is probably going to leave, they decide to 5-man push out together, and they're able to secure an orb. They funnel it onto their KO, who was the one with the most ult orbs as well. So this is meaning that even though they're on eco, they can get some ult orbs stacked on 10, so they're going to have this KO ult as early as possible. Okay. So Lev saw the stack, reactionally went this way. They didn't mess with taking sands. They just went sight, did the deep smokes that allow long-range fights. Smart reaction from Lev overall. They're playing almost full Halls post yet again, planning in the corner so that it's open for dish. Shy does have his alarm bot up yet again. By the way, I like that this alarm bot both acts as information for the default, where they can spot out an early push, but it also means if you push a site, it acts as a late flank watch. So it acts into two ways, basically, if it just stays up.
Think about it in terms of...
Interesting that they're choosing to push CT. I hecking love Tens. All I gotta say.
And is there time on the clock? Can this be possible? Can this be doable?
Stun, swing, doors player, nice flick. Oh my god, they almost won that. That's crazy. It's also very weird that Lev was pushing spawn here, though, in my opinion. Like, what do you gain out of pushing spawn here? Maybe some ult orbs? I'm fine with them sending their pistol players to do this, but I don't like them sending their guns to do this. Alright, so in these first two rounds, we've seen Lev just contacting around the map, using their Jet as basically a solo info player, looking to take fights and get picks. Sentinels have so far played an arcade trap and a B-side stack, and on their bonus anti-bonus round they are sending a 3-man hold for A main, so switching up where their map control is.
And that's just taken a lot of the sting out of the buy. There's
Arcade smoke. So once again, we've shown, or Sen has shown arcade or B-side pressure or traps both of the first 2 rounds. Now they smoke and fake the map control, and it looks like Lev is going to choose to respect this.
round. Two players still
Very, very slow
Pace
default.
is still really slow. Shy getting up here, looking to try and break the Cypher utility.
And Shy just gets caught, contacting into the angle.
Still really slow. Shy getting up here, looking to try.
So I like this. Right, there are 2 rifles that do make this slightly risky, but I like that Marv is just playing on this extremely long off angle. It's not that much of an off angle, honestly, but because they know that Taco already contacted up this once, it's pretty good to be actively holding it and preventing them from breaking this Cypher setup yet again. So after losing that pick, Lev ends up 3-manning up Dish.
Possibly assuming that Marv would still
There's
be
another
playing
contact play from
Generator or
Taco.
Canteen, whereas he has doubled up with Pancada on site.
And here comes the exec into sight.
All the way through.
3-man exec, and Sen does still have main control. They pop flash out, retake sight, and this should be round for Sentinels unless they majorly botch it. Nice round from Sen. I like the switch of control. I like that Marv was holding this angle and not letting them just contact in to break the Cypher turret. Or, not turret, the Cypher setup. Alright, next round, same setup from Sen. They're playing trap. It looks like it's going to be stun, pop flash from Tens, and maybe nade swing from Zekin. Same 4-1 out of Lev. Turret holding B main, alarm bot holding A main. Same weak side B here with Marv and Pancada. Once again showing this arcade smoke. Fake control, and Lev looks like they're once again respecting it. You can see that Lev is just waiting out aggression here. So they have this high-low double stack towards the arcade angle, high-low double stack towards Dish, right? Just very, very safe. So they choose to start moving at about the 130 mark, about 10 seconds in. Just something to note.
Aggression that might come out of Sen.
Talk about discipline.
Yeah, just trying to absorb it.
But the problem with this kind of setup.
And then they split into another 3-on-1, right? With, once again, Taco taking open fights as that solo jet. The pack of Breach Brim raids, and then KJ solo holding control towards the other side of the map. So far, Lev's defaults have been pretty much exactly the same every single round. So it looks like... Yeah, they got the orb. So Lev 3-manned and took orb here, and it looks like they did use one of their flashes to do so. They flashed King in to peek towards Dish. Simultaneously, Sen started pushing out of A main as 3 as well. And they did this off of no contact on this knife, which is one of the values of having this KO. So I like that Sen is taking advantage of their KO, because they kind of need to, right? They need to be getting some sort of map control advantage off their information and utility. Meanwhile, Marv and Pancada have fallen full offsite post. Or not post, but full offsite. They're just giving B-side completely because they already have this push through flank, pre-flank in place.
Turret active. They know that he is at least tethered.
There's the turret break, and this is the signal for Lev to start speeding up. Shy plays flank containment. He's hiding. Nice ult from Mazino. So Lev recognizes off of this turret break that there is a push through flank coming. So what ends up happening is Shy tucks on the box and tree, and then Mazino ults towards here as Shy hears them coming up, and that forces the engagement. It looks like Shy could have gotten a kill, but it looks like what happened is Shy lost his duel, and then Zekin got roasted. Oh, I see. So Shy shot Zekin, and that's what allowed the orbital to kill him here, but Ten's already got past and got the trade. So now Lev is down man because they lost Takalia to a trip on site. So kill trips from Hankada, which is good. So that when this execute did come out, this trip ended up killing Taco, right? Yeah, there it is. So this is, again, this is your value of having your weak side Cypher. He can play full off site, and then he uses the other team's exec smokes against them, playing in the smokes, able to spam off of his kill trips, and then you have an advantageous retake, right? We're man up for Sentinels. They should win this retake.
It's an orbital strike committed.
And Lev doesn't even have spike down yet, right? This was because this push through flank was so early. Sen is already on the flank before the spike is even down, so this is pretty amazing from and you can see that this fast retake was so chaotic that the smokes are down before the spike is, so now Lev's in a really bad spot.
Time is of the essence.
Single smoke towards Canteen, stun towards B main, buys enough time to plant for slant. There comes the aftershock from Sen, delaying the plant further, and it ends up killing King along with the spam from Sen. Really nice. 13 seconds, Lev is forced to try to get the plant here. Just tapping, trying to bait out fights, and this round's over. Alright, eco from Lev here. Same setup, almost, from Sen. They've swapped now to having Zekin play weak side, and having Brimstone in the A main hold. So, using your KO as your kind of like quasi-duelist, able to take fights off the utility. I mean, Marv can also take fights. And Marv also has this orbital, so let's say that this trap takes contact and they're taking the fights towards A main, Marv can now ult behind right here with this orbital. So I think this is most likely the reason that they moved Marv over into this setup. And yet again, 3-1-1 from Lev. They've been doing this default every single time. Every single time, it's Shy on his own, Taco on his own.
King. Again, that utility, supportive utility, sassy, intense have been amazing.
Here's the trap. No orbital though.
Traded out equally.
That might be because they're on eco and they want to save it for a better round. They also might be thinking about saving the orbital to counter this Shy ult. So here's that trap, right? It was stun into stun off contact from King. King goes and re-swings, and then they just triple face it.
Dash was active. Pop flash play was dodged, and it's the face.
It was a flash from Sassy, right? Counter flash, yeah. So it was flash from NZR, and then counter flash from Sassy on the box over here. Did blind up King, and then they just face and take the fights. I also really like taking these fights all from the same angle back here against the eco, because let's say you're playing this crossfire, it means you can get isolated in a way that, like, let's say you smoke right here from Lev and then try to take the fights towards here, your crossfire gets broken up and you get put in these short range fights.
Always going to be favored there.
Pancada willing to take long range duels with Vandal against the Sheriff. Again, if this was a gun round, I don't know if this would be a smart choice for Pancada, but because it's anti-eco, these are all completely fine. Yep, second Pancada, just not afraid, take the fights, get the kills. Good opening from Sen. So they lose the pistol and they get the next 3. Now we are knifing towards B main, or sorry, A main. This is the cross map knife. And the setup has changed. Now we're playing, Cypher is part of the strong side. We're using Cam for a main control, and then we have this looks like a trap play off that orbital. So as I was talking about, they wanted to save this orbital for the gun round instead of the eco, and now it looks like they're playing trap play off Cam contact. So it's going to most likely be stun, aftershock, orbital. I believe Sen showed this trap play before, and Lev is avoiding a main here. So it looks like they're not going to walk into the trap. They have a separate trap, flash double swing trap, high-low here, and there's the orbital. So Marv rotated off and throws the orbital on top of the spike over here. The orbital's not going to get any value. Quick rotate. So this is the cool part about running strong side Sentinel, is it's very easy to start strong side with a trap, but if there's contact towards the other side of the map, you can just fast rotate off, and now you have your Cypher set up, holding map control exactly where the other team wasn't. So now you're in the correctly stacked 4-1, and Lev needs to take a bunch of time re-clearing space towards the opposite side of the map that they weren't pressuring early on.
How aware they are that there could be some kind of
nice kill from Marv.
Great kill from Marv. He gets 2. Yeah.
So Marv taking really aggressive fights as the controller player. I think man up, it's okay. I don't know if he necessarily needed to be holding this angle here. I understand why, because Zekin was coming over. But this, at the end of the day, this kind of is a 50-50 fight. Lev's spacing isn't great on the trade as well.
that there could be some kind of flank
Right,
on
here
the
comes the
other
counter
side.
swing, and Taco doesn't kill Marv. He kills Zekin, who's swinging to help out Marv. I think it's okay. It's just like the timing that Marv is holding this, right, and then the timing that Lev goes into him, it just happens that the trade wasn't in place, but Zekin was already on his way over, so they were aware of it. It's okay.
Help from his teammate, doubled up here. Smoke's gonna watch for it,
Ten's
they
just
are
holding
so
the smoke.
aware.
Once again, they did this fast rotate so that they were four stacked towards B,
Sentinels was
and
so
that's another round win for Sentinels.
Offer him the one.
No trade there.
Out in the open.
Shouldn't matter.
Spike in his hand.
He got information of where Mazzino is, at least. They were in this double stack, and then Marv gave it up to smoke, and that's the exact moment that Mazzino took to swing. Because they get the information of where Mazzino is, Sen starts pushing Pancada out of dish, and he's going to jump spot to cut the rotation. Oh, I actually don't like that at all. I thought he was just going to jump spot, but he actually went wide and gave Mazzino the kill. He did get enough damage that this is still probably a 1 round, but it is scary. It did go from a 4v1 to a 2v1, where if Mazzino had chosen to go A, he might have been able to get plant down. Okay, so similar. So we're playing weak side B yet again, but it's with the KO raise, and by having your 2 most active and self-sufficient agents as part of your weak side, you can kind of take these fights and look to be aggressive even when you're playing weak 2-man setup. The nice thing about playing the raise op towards site as well is you're able to take these aggressive lines and then usually get out and get to a secondary line or play off site afterwards.
Integral.
And it looks like because Tens is playing tower though, he's gonna be full committed to site.
How that one also develops here. Double dark.
Oh, you can't miss those.
As well, map number 2. See how that
Fortunately, Zekin not proving that he's an opera yet.
Shot misses. Operator in the hands of Zekin.
Unusual.
He does
that you're
repost.
be offing. That's one of the things that you don't expect playing against Sentinels comp.
And Lev's just gonna head away from the op at this point, which is the strong side from Sentinels. But again, it's the strong side with Brim Breach Cypher, so it's not exactly the most active strong side.
Gives it value.
Sassy just got the orb over in A halls. He's now 1 away from.
Okay, I like that Marv gets out after that initial fight.
Dash to move forward.
Dash in to take Hall's control.
Here, spam through the door. All the players grouped up now from Lev. And the utility.
So stall from Sen here. Basically, they gave up the control very quickly, but in return they popped the Cypher cages for both. I think that this was a Cypher cage. I'm not sure if this was a cage or not. But they get smokes for both drop and main simultaneously, and they pop the flash for main. And this allows the time for the rotation out of Tens. And in the meantime, we have Pancada holding off of Saucy's util for Sands. And then Marv has the ability to cross here off the smokes, but he's choosing to play close. Here's a Sands take, and it looks like Saucy... Did he use a stun?
Making sure that nobody can step foot outside, but now...
Yeah, so there's that stun onto Sands off of contact from Pancada. Meanwhile, Tens has worked his way up into rope, so he's able to underhand flash through this smoke if he wants to. And this should be a really good situation for Sentinels. Double swing. Tens did get caught trying to flash out, it looks like.
Nobody can step foot outside, but now through Sanus, a double satchel play king. Not onto the high ground.
Did Tens just peek without flashing? Really?
Ensure that nobody can step foot outside, but now through Sanus, a double satchel play king. Not onto the high ground.
Huh. That's weird to me. That's very weird to me. This looks very, very good, right? The stun trap for Sand into the swing out of Pancada. I really like this overall. I would like it more if Tens was throwing his knife and frag and then pop flashing through the smoke instead of just swinging out dry. It's weird to me. The only thing, okay, there is an aftershock. Maybe he got force out. No, the aftershock's for CT. I don't know. I think it's just a mistake from Tens. Lev forces their way in. After this, what happened? It was just the 2-man face. Saucy gets killed. Nazpor trades out. Shy drops out. Trades all around. Again, like if Tens just hadn't swung through smoke, then they'd be up man here. Or if he had swung through with util, I think it also would have been better. But, right, Taco. If Tens had used his knife here, Taco wouldn't have his knives, right?
Double face once more. Sen playing together. The fundamentals quite clean. Flash. Taco.
But overall, traded out fully. Zach can recognize the situation. I imagine he's gonna get out with his satchel here off that orbital.
Look at the patience there, though. He was trying to see if he could get a kill on Mazina before that.
Nice shot. Alright, so Sentinels has gone up 5-2. So far, their setups have been very varied, right? They've done a lot of A control, as you should on this map, but they've also done this, like, the weak side KO raise with the flash double swing traps. They've played raise op towards B. And now they're playing 4-stack towards B and solo Cypher A. Right after they showed these trap plays for A-halls, right? They had the deep trap off the breach stun here. They had the sands trap with the Cypher swing, and then the KO should have been dumping util through the smoke. So they showed a bunch of trap plays towards A and are guessing that Lev is probably not going to put a ton of pressure there at this point. So they switched to the strong side B. Heavy stack. Stun, smoke, knife.
Thrown their way. This is just to maintain control of Arcade. Shy still going for this.
And this is most likely in response to this KJ ult. So they proactively take control of Arcade, and then now they're getting ready to challenge the KJ ult. Let's see what happens. Molly. Oh. How did that... What? Looks like he shot it at the wall, like, back here, and these guys just ran up in front of it. Oh no, they're gonna get detained, right? Oh no. They get out of the range, and then they just trade out on the players, peeking them from both sides. Sassy did get detained, but Marv just winning all the fights on 3 HP.
Exactly where it's going to be playing. Marv low enough, all he needs is...
There we go. Okay. 6-2. How did Sen lose this map? What happens? Okay. Anyways, I actually really like this round from both teams. So, the idea behind this from Lev was that they were going to play heavy arcade, and then they sent Shy into sewers to pop the KJ ult, and this is going to force Sen to challenge it, but then they have King's raise ult to kind of punish the push into underpass, was their plan. Unfortunately, King kind of missed his ult, so he only went 1-for-1, and then these players ended up trading really positively outside of the KJ ult. But I like the game plan from Lev. Even though, like, Sen had a plan, they 4-stacked B and aggressively fought Arcade to be able to challenge towards underpass, and then Lev had a counter plan for that, right? They had the raise ult to counter out this push. And even though King didn't get the kills that he should have towards underpass, he was able to stall out the push enough that the KJ ult went off. And Sen was pushed in this direction. Unfortunately, Marv just went crazy and won all the fights from here after getting outside of the range of the KJ ult, so Lev ended up losing out. Alright, flash towards main. Wait, this was Lev's pick? That's wild.
Gives up control of main, and wow, the timing there is just
what? Okay, first off, I would rather have this op on Brim than Cypher. Cypher, in my opinion, is one of the worst op characters in the game because you cannot be opping at the same time as getting cam info. So, I just don't get this, honestly. He just is opping on a super wide angle in the middle of the open. He gets contacted up from B main and just gets shot in the back against an eco. Why would you make this play against an eco? I understand the desire to swap up the op and having these active push-through plays. I think that this is okay, but, like, I mean, even if Pankata's on op, why not just hold this angle, for example? Why be out in the middle of the open where you can get shot in the back? And now you have solo Marv playing tower. He's just going to die. He's going to get crunched on sight here. At best, he gets one. Oh my god. Okay. There's his one. So, I really dislike playing what Anders calls sunk cost. Basically, playing a player in tower where they're full committed and will die. Right? There's no way you're ever going to get out of tower here. If you get exec on 4B site, you will die. Your goal is getting as many kills as possible. So the only time I like having players on site is if you're planning to play a flood retake in the first place. And that's not what happened here, right? I mean, maybe it could have been if Pancada hadn't gotten shot in the back. But if you're playing a player in tower or site, you need to be getting out in a flood retake before they die. I think that this setup from Pancada and Marv just lost them around for free. Against an ego, by the way.
Yeah. Now we see it. Rolling Thunder. Push them back. They want to fight into the spawn here, but Sassy's containing.
Sassy gets a kill back, but oh.
And second, he's also plugging up the gaps. So 2 versus 3.
Okay, so well,
Spike push them back. They want to fight into the
Duelist just peeking in a 4v3, by the way. They got caught out in weird positions. I guess they were trying to capitalize off of this ult. That was a really good nade from Zekken, actually. So Lev decides that they want to ult and push off the ult, but Zekken throws a really nice nade and Boombot to basically cancel out this breach ult. They prevent King from peeking, and then Taco just loses this fight against Canteen. He's out in the open. These smokes kind of faded at a bad time for this push. You could also argue they faded at a good time for this push, right? This smoke fading was not great because now Taco doesn't have cover to take the fight source gen, but just losing out on these duels and not capitalizing. It was also a good knife from Tens, right? Knife comes in right here. There's the disable.
Rolling Thunder. Push them back. They want to fight into the spawn here, but Sassy's containing from Canteen. It wasn't smoked off. It was an open angle. And second,
this is still a fine spot for Lev if they can get Shy up in the tower.
Satchel second with a quick tap as well, trying to force one of these fights out, doubled up. Now they have the information. Both the players here from Lev.
There's the anti-stun for diffuser, and Shy just wins out the fights. Lev got a little bit fortunate that they won these fights, honestly. They were in a bad spot here after that initial engagements. After both King and Taco were lost fighting. I see. So Sassy swung out trying to hold this arcade stuff, and they were really tunnel visioned on tower here, so they had the double hold for tower. I don't know if Sassy needed to swing here, actually. I guess they don't know about B main necessarily, is the reason to make this play. If they're actually only worried about these two angles, Sassy can just hold this, right? He doesn't need to swing out and take this fight. I think that could have been played a little bit better by Sen, but honestly, I would be much more critical of this opening setup out of Marv than Pancada than anything that happened later in the round. Half armor from Lev, by the way, worth noting. Okay, so Sen, once again, choosing to go for this 4-1B. With Cypher playing solo A side for retake. Aggress towards arcade. This time it's a really aggro double satchel play. So stun, flash, double satchel out towards arcade. Lev ends up, they were playing this 3-1-1, yet as always, Lev was playing the solo KG towards north side, and he was able to put the alarm bot up and then just take rope off the aggro from Sen. So Sen has effectively taken all of bridge side of the map. Now they are facing this direction, basically. The map control has flipped from instead of sideways is now vertical. Lev cuts noise. They re-clear towards underpass and B main. They leave Shy holding underpass, so now they're sending a 4-man towards A main. So they've basically consolidated control, so that they have their Sentinel now holding this flank, and they're gonna send it towards A. Once again, contact into A main. I don't mind this because of the dish crunch. And then here comes the exec. Basically, because they're playing double duelists, you're kind of forced to contact into some areas. You just don't have the enough util to take this and then still have util left over, because the only util you have for taking space is basically Brim util plus Boombot, and then this can like deny a flood. So by contacting into A main, that allows them to save their Brim util for executing in the sand split. I think smartly played out of Lev overall. Pancada plays a safe angle where he can take one shot and then get out, and he does get the get the kill on Pancada, so that allows a favorable man advantage for Sen. Once again, this fight is going to be pretty massive, and Shy wins it. Yeah, that's what I thought. So Zekken did a solo push through flank through arcade and ends up in dish, and then he ults and gets the kill on King. So in man advantage again, but because Marv lost this duel, by the way, now suddenly Sen is super worried about the flank, and that their retake is weaker because they've committed their breach towards holding the flank.
Second, he survives, drops down though. No one to follow
I
up
think
on
that was
the
mistime from
showstopper.
Zekken.
That is
He gets the
active,
kill.
and with the movement,
I think he should
Zekken
wait
is
here. He drops before his team is out, right? They're only on Raptors. They've only gotten Sands control. I don't think he should be dropping right now. This is a mistake for sure. Yeah, just getting picked off one by one. They don't successfully deny the plant. Once again, none of these kills getting traded at all.
So much more to do here, dodging to the side of the fault line. Spam doesn't do the damage. 2 bullets left. Has to go for the reload.
Very hard for Saucy.
In this 1v1, Turret's
On
still alive
15
as well. Might
HP.
just bring him down if he tries to face
Well,
wide.
I think that this was just a collapse in fundamentals here, honestly. It's just a bunch of untraded kills. It's a 4v2, right? They did an amazing job of shutting down this Sands push and picking players off one at a time. But I think that they just needed to chill. They have their breach watching flank. These two players, right? So you always want the locations where there's multiple players to be clearing space first before any isolated players. So Zekken's on his own with this ult, so I don't mind going for this ult kill because it's an ult, right? It's hard to hit Raze when she's flying through the air with a rocket on her back. But after you use this ult, I would love if Zekken just stayed tucked here until Tens, Pancada, and Saucy work to clear some space towards Sand and get out of spawn. But Zekken gives a free kill, right? This angle is untradeable. If anyone's playing towards main as he drops and kills him as he drops, there's no way that any of these players are going to be able to get the trade. So because of that, Lev is able to make their way on site. Shy opens the door and just catches Pancada off guard as well, for dropping from rafters. It looks like Shy was just waiting to open door off the sound of the drop. And then Tens wants to deny the plant, so he ends up taking this isolated fight towards main as well. Shy goes back from the Sands peak and holds the cross for NZR. Just really well played from Lev, but also Sen gave them the opportunities, right? So, last 2 rounds, both extremely winnable for Sen, and kind of breakdowns in fundamentals. Okay, so they have 3, but they're contact peeking into this. What's the point of playing contact when you have a util advantage with a KO? So I don't think that this is... I think it makes a ton of sense that Lev is taking contact fights, because 1, they have untraded ability in Jet, 2, they have util disadvantage because they only have the single initiator. I don't think it makes any sense for Sen to be taking contact because the advantage they have is higher volume of util, right? They have all of this KO util versus just a Jet taking fights. So Lev playing into the strengths of their comp by contacting around with Taco Leah looking for picks is good. Sen contacting into angles and not using utility is just not playing into what their comp advantage is.
Who's been languishing at the bottom of the scoreboard.
KJ ult should be a free sight. Sen's gonna be playing full retake in a 4v5. This round is pretty cooked already. 2-man push through flank makes it winnable. No fundamentals yet again. No trade. He was holding, so what he was doing is he was holding the deep angle tree as Marv worked up. But I kind of would have preferred Marv like working up here and then Pancada starting to scale up this way so they can actually have trades available. But because the trade doesn't happen, just forced to save. Again, though, I don't care that much about this. I care way more about taking contact fights here. Once again, trap play from Sen towards A-Halls. Marv takes a safe, aggressive line, falls off after taking a couple shots. Good weak side play overall. I don't like that Pancada is staying on site, though. I would much rather just be playing retake here. And Pancada and Marv are going to re-aggress towards Arcade. Off of the stun from Saucy. They're going to trade 1 for 2. They're taking aggressive fights as weak side. I mean, I guess it's kind of... They've kind of turned into the strong side because they're playing off the breach stun, but I don't think that you want to be taking your aggressive duels off a single stun, and your Brim Cypher doesn't really make sense to me. I would rather these guys, if they want to make a play, I would rather these guys just push through again. No smokes in the retake because they use their Brim as an aggressive agent. Alright, side swap 6-6. This could have been a much better half for Sen, but they kind of choked away their lead. And honestly, I think a lot of it was on Pancada and Marv, on how they played their weak side B. I think that that's a significant portion of how they lost this. And also, if Marv is actually calling, he's calling for these plays as well, right? I don't like it at all. And if it is Marv's calls, it's kind of on him as IGL. So we are playing a 4-1 from Sentinels. So we're just going to go into a 4-1 site hit onto B. Meanwhile, Lev is playing a trap setup with single turret holding both arcade and deep B main. So we have stun prepped from NZR. Solo Brimstone holding towards A. Gonna play full retake most likely. But Sen is gonna walk into the stack and the trap play. This nade is good in that it's gonna clear out King. He's gonna be forced into the swing, but he's gonna come as counter stun and nade. How are the duels gonna go? Did Zekken get team flashed? He did indeed get team flashed. And they keep on trying to force their way in after they lose their opener. Marv dies through smoke, spam. So this is a little bit unlucky from Sen that their pistol was to fast hit into B, hoping that it's weak side probably, and this happened to be the site that Lev had full stacked and played for trap plays. So it's a little unlucky from Sen for sure. Again, I would argue that maybe you want to be leaning more into defaults when you have this KO though, because you have more information than the other team. Again, Lev only gets advantage by getting kills because they're playing this jet.
Tens doesn't go down, only on 5 HP here, moving up into tower. King enough to get the job done there. And it would have to be that 1v5, an almost impossible scenario.
Lev 5-man pushes arcade. I like that they're not afraid to be aggressive in this situation.
Enough to get the job done there.
Right, they identify where the players are, which is towards arcade, and they just start full flooding, full util dumping. What does Lev's anti-eco look like? They're playing long angle, util support, long angle, long angle, long angle, util for B main.
Sentinels?
Good anti-eco. I don't necessarily like playing Suncost Tower on anti-eco though. So they end up 2-man pushing arcade, and they're playing off of the breach stun, it looks like. I think this is fine. Once again, if this was a gun round for both teams, this would be a little scary to me, because it's your KJ Brim aggressing. But I don't think it's that bad against anti-eco, and they also have more util into it than Sen used. Because right, Sen used a single stun and then Saucy left. But this is more of a trap that they're playing. Okay. Bonus from Lev. We are playing 4-1, and we are aggroing towards tree.
No presence shown, but off the orb.
So Sen ends up waiting it out and then counter stunning off the orb contact. Stun nade, flood through. Good swings. Tens just gets 2. Nice. I like this play out of Sen. They were playing a 4-1. They just waited out any aggression, right? They're just playing super deep, right? They don't go through this smoke. They just wait behind it. And then as a team, they just util dump on the orb control, or they attempt to get orb control. 5v3, they cut noise, they regroup, and they go into B. This is the stack that Lev stacks. Wait, what is happening here? So they take site. They spot out Nazar towards lane. Zekken pushes tower off of a flash, it looks like. I don't know if you need to go for this against anti-bonus. I think that this is giving bonus weapons exactly what they want. I would much prefer if they just like held tower, for example, planted B main and played offsite posts for long range fights. Right, because they get the spike down here. No, they don't get the spike down. They just tap and get off. They kind of force the fight, and not necessarily in ways that favor them against stingers. So they lost more guns than needed to, but it's still a gun round. We do see half armors, and we do see a bulldog out of Marv. So next round from Lev, we are going to see strong side A. This is more of a standard 3-2 setup. Not heavy aggressing anything. We're playing standard breach raise for A. Nazwar is taking fights towards Dish here. Not Nazwar, sorry, Takalia. Try playing Sunk Cost Tower. Trap setups. Just util for the B main flood. Meanwhile, Sentinels is playing 4-1. They're playing a pack of 4 and then flank trip. Cam for all of north side control. Ankata ends up taking rope off of cam contact, it looks like. No, he just takes rope, actually. He just has a feeling. I guess he's just getting called over. Again, I do like these plays from Lev. I think that this is playing to the role of your jet. You have a player that is comfortable taking self-sufficient fights and taking aggro map control off contact. This is what you have to do if you're playing jet.
Jiggle from King, he's got to get out of there. No command, so no util to be used. The defending players are Lev looking to try and
Here comes the sand
split.
split. So Lev is full stacked here in time, right? They were playing 3-2. They took aggro control here, and then basically there's only 2 reactions now that Lev has to worry about, which is the 5-man A and the 5-man B. Sen chooses to go for the A, which is the site that the Breach Rays are on, and what King and Nosware end up doing is they end up getting out of halls because Tens does ult. And now they're going to fall into sight and wait for the rotates. So Brim playing quick rotate. Shy is playing solo B anchor now. And then we have Taco on site playing the crossfires. It's not Taco. A King on site playing the crossfires while Taco rotates back. The Sand Flood does come before any main control from Sen. So let's see what happens. They do spot Nosware crossing towards site. King just goes nuts. He's just holding the smoke and kills too, right? That was a pop flash from Tens off his ult. It looks like King might have played anti. Yeah, it looks like King was playing anti behind the cover. I can't tell exactly. He definitely didn't get flashed here though, and then he just peeks out, holding the smoke and kills too. So, force saved after the sand split gets fully shut down. Did Sen get any information here? They just hold on to knife. They never knife, actually. Tens doesn't even use a knife. Huh? Again, I don't understand why you're playing KO if you're not going to use this as part of your plays. Like, imagine if Tens had just knife sight here. Or maybe he does. Maybe this is his knife out that I'm seeing right there. No, that's his flash. Imagine if Tens knife sight here. You get the information that you have Breach and Raze towards A. They both get their abilities shut down. I think you probably don't rush out of this smoke as 2. I don't think that Sen is playing into the strengths of the KO that well. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the default that Sen has initially, right? They have this 4-1. The Cypher gets the info of the full north side control, and they choose to reactively start taking some space. Because Taco is pushed all the way out of dish, that means that like you see these 2-2s, right? You have a timing where if you send it, you can hit sight into a 2 before Taco is able to rotate back. So I don't mind the reaction to Sands go through Sands here. I don't think it's the worst decision in the world, but I do think that they should be knifing for either like main or sight or something, getting more information to inform their hit and to play into the function of this KO, which is disabling the abilities. So I guess the knife wouldn't have disabled the abilities because the ult already was, but it would have given extra information, right? And then maybe some more util other than a single pop flash through the smoke would have been nice. Sen have the utility advantage because they're running this KO, but they're not using that util. I would love if Sen was doing some sort of like knife hauls, 3-man v main with this 4-1, but they're just saving this knife, right? They just didn't use the knife in the entire round. Another very standard setup. We've swapped Jet and Brim, so now we won't have Jet taking aggro pushes like this, but you do have Taco taking aggro fights that he can safely get out of on the weak side. So Sen has called for a 4-1 V split, it looks like. They are going to be hitting into weak side. They are going to be hitting into KJ's side as well, which is great. This is the advantage of the knife. Okay, so Tens did use his knife for info here. He used his knife on arcade, so I don't want to see Sen send it in here, honestly. And they choose to contact into the angle and break the turret, and then get out, and then they're going to send it. Once again, contacting in, not expecting Taco on top. Again, it's the same stuff. It's the same stuff. It's contacting into angles. I understand you're at gun disadvantage, but I still just do not understand playing contact when you're playing a KO. Not using the KO util. I think that it's good that they use the KO util to clear out one area, but at this point they can just pause. Like they have tons of clock to work with. They have util advantage. They can, if they want to take these fights, they should use util for them as they take site instead of contacting in. They don't need to contact in. That's what Lev needs to do because they're running the jet. Sen ends up doing a slower default this round.
Switch up.
It is Taco with the ult.
Yeah,
Stun for Dish.
purchased it now. The contact in, you might get punished. Flash.
They actually end up holding onto the stun and they end up flashing instead to take Dish control. So really standard default from Lev once again. Breach Raise holding A main control. Info line from Brim, and then you have your weak side playing 2-man towards Arcade. Most likely Taco taking first contact with the op, and then it's going to be a bait and switch dash out while Shy swings. So using stall utility towards B main and then having a 2-man setup towards Arcade. Sen decides to go for a 3-2. They use Flash to take control of Dish. This is better, right? You're using util to take control of space. So Mazzino pulls out his ults, and he does reactively ult off of the stun. I like this as well from Lev. So they're playing a mini trap. They use this stun ult so that basically as this flash came out and Sen were taking space, they turned this info line into a dual purpose stun as well. And that does kill Marv, and now this is no smokes for Sentinel. Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't say this is Sen playing that badly. I would say this is more Lev playing well than Sen playing badly here.
We haven't seen that from a while from Lev.
There was a lot of rounds I was pretty critical though. Like, I think Lev is playing well for sure, and they're playing to the strengths of their comp, but there was a lot of rounds in this comeback from 6-2 that were Sen playing in a way that didn't fit their comp, or just flat out making mistakes.
Taking damage, a minute left, but again, when you try and play slow.
Good cleanup from Lev here.
Play for Leviatán. This is a molly. It's going to go to the backside.
Alright,
of tower.
3-2 split. Pancata is lucky to be alive. It looks like Sen was going for a set exec off their eco round here. Second sends it towards spawn. I like the decision to take some extra space towards spawn here. And then Sen starts trying to flood and crunch Taco in main. Taco gets a kill. Mazzino from the back is able to push through the smoke. Yeah. So this is the problem, right? If you smoke deep here, you need to commit a body to hold that smoke deep. And if you bring Zekin back to start worrying about Taco and B main, you just allow them to run through the smoke like this.
Taking up all that space. Taco's pressured. Nice. Out the right click misses. It is absolute anarchy. Lev, they're seeking to capitalize it.
I think that Lev is playing this really well. They always have a clear plan. They're always willing to take these fights, which they need to, because they're running the double duelist, right? They need to be playing for these skirmishes with their duelists and not letting the util advantage of Sentinels like take hold. And then they just look like they're one step ahead, right? They recognize that Sen is pushing to try to crunch Taco, so Mazzino just runs through the smoke and gets a shot on Zekin's back. They had this trap play ready for when Sentinels decided to go up Dish. This looks like just a 4-1 sand split here. Knife for tower does end up killing or tagging KJ, so all the KJ util is down. Zekin's able to find her with ult. King hiding in A main does get a kill on Saucy, it looks like. Oh, second kill is huge. And then the push through flank from Lev. So this was a 3-man Jet Brim Breach push through a B main with weak side A with the Raze taking active fights and KJ. And then the push through just catches Marv off, and King getting 2 is, I think, must be the round decider here. It's all trades towards everywhere else. The fact that King got this second towards site was huge. Okay, Pancata and 10s though. Pancata catches King, cleans up the King kill at the same time as 10s pop flashing the push through flank and winning those fights. So we do want mana for Sentinels. And Sen wins that fight. Alright, that's 8 for Sen. And this is exactly what you want from the KO comp. So the advantage of this KO is if you're able to find a weak side with a Sentinel, you knife the Sentinel, all of your KJ setup, your entrenchment util goes down, and you now have a really powerful hit. So this is exactly the situation you want to create. An aggressive hit towards a site where you have knifed that Sentinel. They have the util advantage because they're running double initiator. They have this ult play that entries to gain the space through main. It's unlucky Zekin didn't get that kill, but regardless, when Pancata finds this kill and Tens is able to get that one and pop flash to Sol here.
Really redeem. He spots the last player.
Get in a pretty good spot. Alright, next round. It looks like we're going for it again, and this time there is a stun plus op waiting. Unfortunate that the op kill didn't get shown on cam, but it looks like Zekken just sent it. I can't tell exactly what util happened here, so it's stun. Most likely this stun. It looks like the stun might have been towards tower, actually. So I think what happened was Sentinels was trying to do this. They were trying to fast push Sands again and do the same thing. And this is actually just a really good adjustment from Lev, in that a Sands push like this is really open to this op line. But sending it into the op line, really good adjustment from Lev overall. Looks like he just ran through the smoke stun. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me as well. Nice shot by Sen. By 10. Tens. Pop flash play here. Nice angle from King, honestly. King just shot as soon as he got flashed, and that led to Tens dying because he didn't wait at all after the flash. Hard to fault him though, because he lost his entry player, so he's kind of forced to do that. Now Saucy on a 1v2, and that is game. Okay, so this was 6-2 up for Sen, and then turned into a 6-6 defense half, and then Sen just couldn't get anything started on attack. Overall, I think that the way that Sen was playing their weak side B, with Pancada and Marved over here, was not my favorite. And I think that lost them a lot of defensive rounds. The other round that they lost that I really didn't like was when they contacted into the B main angle with Zekken here. I don't think that it makes sense to be playing contact plays at all when you're playing the double initiator into a single initiator double duelist comp. I also think that Pancada and Marved were playing in ways that didn't necessarily make sense for like really aggro pushes and such. As I was just saying about playing weak side poorly. In terms of attack side, I think that towards these last two rounds, it looked like they were going for kind of what this comp likes to play into. Knife the Sentinel, hit fast into sight. But again, I don't know if they necessarily are playing against the double duelist the best possible way. So I would really like super slow informational defaults from Sen, because the longer the round goes on, the more initiator util cycles you get, and the more your util advantage builds up. Sen was going for a lot of pretty early and committal plays where they didn't get value out of more than one knife. I think overall on attack, my biggest criticism is just not playing into the KO's util. And then on defense, I think it was more on how this weak side B was played. Alright, that is it from me for today. If there's anything I can do better for the YouTube, just let me know. And thanks for watching.